What's good, Flow State Tribe? I hope everybody's doing well, feeling groovy like a drive-in movie. And today I'm going to speak about having a dominant chakra path working, okay? This is something that I discovered with working with different clients and different people throughout the years. I've started to understand that everyone has a very dominant energy center. And I think that the Western medical system is actually missing out on some of the Eastern energetics that are so powerful. Because, you know, a lot of these things, these issues or even mental health issues, you know, they come from a dysregulation of the flow of energy in your brain, and that affects the energy in your body. And oftentimes we get emotions trapped somatically, right, within our body, and that starts to affect us. So, you know, it could oftentimes be related to the anatomical system. So if we're getting a lot of issues with our body, like, you know, different rashes or tingling sensations or, you know, cramps or things like this, oftentimes they can give you clues. A good place to start would be the book Eastern Body, Western Mind by Anna Judith. I think that's a powerful just framework in merging both of these worlds and getting you to understand the bioenergetic framework for chakra healing. So for me personally, let me just tell you my own journey. So I've been hyper creative ever since I was a small child. So my most prominent chakra has always been the sacral. And, you know, of course, I notice the excessiveness of my sacral essence or presence with it. So I know how to discharge it when I get that rush of sexual energy, because, you know, the chi or the prana in the body, 50% of it is associated with the sacral. So if your sacral is blocked, you know, you won't get that nice flow of energy. Now, I also understand a couple of themes in my life, working with my inner child and playfulness, working with creativity and, you know, creating things and, you know, discovering things and expressing myself. And thirdly would be my sexuality and like exploring sex and intimacy and dance and expression through different ways, and also connecting with my own divine feminine essence, because it is a water element, think about it. So I started off actually being a lot more in my feminine in the start of my spiritual journey, whereas I feel a lot more grounded now in my masculine, but I still have kept that quality alive in a sense. I haven't like chastised it, cut it off, you know, pushed it away, suppressed it. You can't really get a good result from resisting each of these energies. You got to kind of treat it like a pet, almost like a small dog, right? Give it attention, give it love, nurture it, care for it, work with the energies of Mother Earth, work with different kinds of colors of the chakras, okay? These are just some basics that I'm giving you. But if you want to really dive in to an 8-week program where we clear each chakra each week, which I'm just throwing it out there if you're interested in this energy work, if you've never experienced it, if you're like kind of curious about it, I mean, try it out, you know, try it out. And if you are still skeptical about this work, what I'll do is I can do a quick free clearing for you to give you a kind of an understanding of how this works. And I've honestly been hiding behind kind of an image where I can't really truly feel like I can express these energetic gifts that I have of you know, understanding more of energy work and clearing and Reiki and esotericism. I feel like a lot of us feel like this, right? It's like who are you to start talking jargon and talking to me about light language, and what gives you the right? And that is really, really terrifying for ego, specifically if it gets constructed to this wokeism or this spiritual ego, right? Like, we can get really, really trapped, and we can actually overburden ourselves using our own minds at times. So we got to stay very, very connected with what's going on, how you feel, what's the best way for you to understand yourself through this journey and this path working. Now, a lot of times your major chakras will be affected by major traumas, which can cause a lot of blocks. Basically, a block generally just means that there's not enough energy flowing to that energy center, right? So someone who's very quiet and doesn't really talk much, their throat chakra is blocked in a sense because they're not truly being able to communicate verbally. Either they're not active listening or they're talking way too much, or they're talking in scattered ways, right? There can be distortions. However, once you understand how to freely express yourself, like really allow yourself to make mistakes and build almost like this relationship with that energy center. Like, let's say you start singing or humming every day, and you start paying more attention to it. Like my business partner Ryan G, his PATHWORKING chakra in Primal Sutra is the throat and his expression. So what he reminds himself is this little mantra of, I speak my raw, honest, compassionate truth, right? And saying affirmations like this will actually help you to harness the energy of that chakra, because where attention goes, energy flows, right? It's like if you don't give energy to that energy center or just place awareness towards it, it's going to be a difficult thing to do to actually optimize and regulate it and keep it cleaned and, you know, and keep it moving. Oftentimes there's a lot of like dark portals, or there are different energetic, you know, ET beings and things like this, you know, taking energy away from us, vampiric energies that are hidden oftentimes. There can be a lot, right? There can be archons or these different parasitic types of energetic beings that do this. So there's a lot of nuances to this. And just to start out, I will get you to using your own intuition, kind of feeling into each chakra point. So the first is the root, right, close to the perineum area or the bottom of the spine. Then we have the sacral, which is a few inches below your belly button. Then you have your solar plexus, which is kind of like right here in the center of your being, like Iron Man suit, almost like the thymus area, or even maybe a little bit lower than that. It's like kind of right here, right? So you have the solar plexus, and then of course you have the heart. Now the heart is split into two, where there's the lower heart chakra and the higher heart chakra, but usually we just consider it as a part of one. So actually the thymus would be more so related to the higher heart. So in any case, then we go up to the throat chakra, then of course we have the third eye, and then we have the crown, right? These are the major 7, and of course there's like 21 and it goes way further, but let's just start at the basics, right? We're starting at the baseline. We don't need to worry about intergalactic gateway and like, you know, the Earth star and the Soul star yet, okay? These are important because again, the Earth star is our connection to Mother Earth, and the Soul star is our connection to the divine. Okay, so heaven and earth coming together, you know, bridging together, and at your center, at your core, right? So a lot of people with these excessive chakras, like let's say that you have a solar plexus that's very, very active and excessive, right? You might seem a little bit egotistical, prideful, arrogant, in a sense, to others, right? And you'll get this sense of you're being highly critical of yourself and others. And I think criticism is one of the things that really blocks our chakras. And I don't think people notice this, because when you're starting to complain and worry about something, you're praying for what you don't want to happen, right? You're focusing on that thing that you don't want, and you're perpetuating that same reality over and over again, right? And so when people start complaining, you notice they're thinking about the past or the future. They're complaining about something which has happened, or they're complaining about something which might happen. And they're not in the present moment. They're not in the now, in the timelessness pocket of nowness, okay, which is where reality is actually happening. It's not happening in your mind, right? It's happening out here with your senses. What are you hearing? What are you seeing? And then getting yourself back into feeling through the presence, not thinking about presence. Oh, I'm holding on to presence now. No, that's not that mental constipation. That's not presence. Presence is you sit with yourself, you allow yourself to feel through every feeling, every discongruency or pain in the body. You notice it, right? Like your pain body will become activated and triggered at times. Eckhart Tolle talks about this, okay? Which is a very visceral sensory reaction, like a triggered response, where we suddenly get angry or we suddenly, react or overreact to certain things. But again, because we're such a sensitive culture of empaths and things like this, we've also got to learn how to have mental resilience and toughness. But not only that, we've got to understand that because we're feeling so much, we also need to integrate and have way more self-care than we do for ourselves, okay? Which means just taking care of our general well-being, okay? And once you can look after your general well-being and you treat these different chakras, like I treat my different chakras like connected to different deities, right? And that's the way that helps me most clarify and clean up this whole, you could say, my connection to the infinite or the source, right? Because all the 7 chakras are rising up to heaven. So if some of them are blocked, like if your crown chakra is blocked, you're going to be a complete atheist, like, whatever. Like, I don't believe in any of this, right? But if it's slightly open, you might pierce through with an understanding. It's not like the dogma of the roots, like connecting you to the earth, but then there can be a lot of boundaries and constraints and mental stories and energetic blocks and emotional confusion that oftentimes gets us to go one side and then another side, and then we try something new and then we keep going in a loop, whereas sometimes there are roles that we're playing too. So we got to just become way more conscious rather than subconscious, right? Just hey, you gotta, if you have fries, you're gonna have dip with the fries, okay? You're gonna have a dip in your energy, you're gonna have a dip in your chakras. You're gonna maybe have it close up in a sense, where you start to notice something or someone that triggers, or a negative event or a memory attachment or a thought form, right? These different things might come in and start to perturb you. And you might actually feel like, I know a lot of anxiety, low self-confidence, is held in the throat chakra. And so in my past, I would never really be able to express myself or speak like this, right? Before I had done the energetic work of actually clearing up the gunk in the storage system, right? Chakra, the word itself in Sanskrit, is energy or disc. So you need like a disc cleanup in a sense, okay? Once you get that disc cleanup and you start treating these chakras like friends, name them, okay? Name them, give them different names, give them different personalities, okay? This will really help you, because what you're doing is now you're bringing it down on an earth human level. It's no more this weird, like kind of, fuzzy, subconscious blob of everything and nothing, right? You're now adding structure to your spirituality, and this is what we do and help you do in Primal Sutra, because a lot of times there's so many things to focus on in this journey that we get a little bit scattered. It's just like, what do I do with this crystal? Or how do I know if this crystal is even real, right? Or this person chanting, is this person actually speaking light language, or are they just speaking gibberish, right? Like, these doubts and questions are gonna come up. But the more you learn and you get more intuitive, you will recognize the real from the fakes. You will recognize the power of a true optimizer. And you can tell, right? You can definitely tell when someone is speaking their truth, or when someone is kind of like pre-planned this thing, right? Like, where it becomes, this cat's just totally enjoying himself, you know? Totally. Just like rolling around in the sun. I mean, that's what you got to do. Like, let's say you want to build up your solar plexus energy, right? You just sunbathe. Like, it's such a simple solution, right? But a lot of people, they overlook this, like eating root vegetables for the root chakra. Like, there's some very, very simple things you can do. Eating fruits and vegetables of that color, right? There's so many things that you can actually do to enhance and optimize this. But it's about you understanding and gaining awareness over what's really going on. And this can be difficult, but if you're working with the different tech that we have, right? Michael Singer, the Sedona, I'm gonna say the Sedona code, like the surrender experiment, right? The emotion code. Then we have, the Dr. David R. Hawkins scale, or the Lester Levinson scale in a sense. Then we have, we have gene keys, and if you're interested in astrology, human design, gene keys, these kinds of things, right? Then you have the bioenergetic framework of understanding, which is your core character structure, and working with that. So a lot of these different maps will give you almost like a movie trailer of what to expect. But remember, the movie trailer is never the movie, right? So you just gotta experience going through the motions of this movie. It's being created and being perpetuated, and just work through it. To understand which one is your most dominant one, you'll get a lot of patterns throughout life. Like, of course, a very powerful energy worker or healer or an intuitive or psychic or somebody who's tapped in to these realms, these ethereal worlds or etheric worlds, they can actually tell which of your chakras is active or underactive or blocked or something. I recently had someone reach out to me for a heart chakra block. And with that particular client, what we did is we wanted to understand the superhighway, right? So maybe there were other chakras or other energies that were preventing his heart from actually fully activating. Like, let's say he wanted to express himself, but he couldn't because the heart is blocked, right? So once you clear up a lot of the gunk in this pathway and you work with each chakra, right? You could even organize it, like each chakra each week, or each chakra each day, or you can make it fun for you. You don't have to have this like kind of burdensome spiritual chakra confusing model that you use. You can reach out to someone who knows what they're talking about, and you can actually build on your skill set of being a healer, being a master of your own energy centers and your own, alchemical gifts that you have that are within you. And you can actually start to just speak and optimize and just be fully you, only you, and nobody else. Let's get it. Upward Spiral Gang. If you have any questions, shoot me a message, Flow Zone Academy. I got hacked, by the way, email. So if you're going to email me, go to flowzoneacademy@gmail.com or chatterjee.sumed@gmail.com or sumedflowcoach@gmail.com. Okay, I have a lot of emails, so not to worry. Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you. And stay legendary. Let's get it, Upward Spiral Gang. Let's go.